experiences differ from one another. And there has been lots of philosophers and neuroscientists answering on Mr. Chalmers' question, but a lot of it is trying to clear up the confusion of experience, which is good, but is not answering the question directly of what is experience itself and why do physical beings such as ourselves are capable of having a subjective experience. And I have my own critique of this, and I try to approach it the same way they approached Mr. Chalmers' question, but I ran into the same issue. And after answering over and over and over, I realized, wait, instead of trying to formulate an answer through this question, I need to first understand the question itself, and that there's fallacies within this question, which is just error of logic. And question as if consciousness is something that is separate from matter, rather than an emergent property of a complex system. His question falls under the purpose fallacy. The question implies feelings exist for a reason, or for someone to explain it. The issue is, an emergent property like consciousness does not require a purpose. They naturally arise from complex systems. Even with my example, asking why do humans exist assumes an intelligent designer. So similarly, asking why do we feel assumes a purpose behind experience. Next is separation fallacy. Treats consciousness as something separate from physical processes that generates it. This question assumes an unnecessary dualism, and dualism in short is when we're separating mind from matter, and we think that the mind transcends the property of matter itself, which we talked about earlier. The mind relies on the brain. When the brain is altered, your personality is also altered itself. So that doesn't make much sense. But next is the ontological gap fallacy. The question assumes that because we don't know currently about what subjective experience is, it cannot arrive from physical processes. This lack of explanation is mistaken for a metaphysical impossibility, called the ontological metaphysical gap. We have more that the question also assumes that physical processes cannot produce consciousness. The conceivability doesn't prove metaphysical possibilities. And back to the zombie explanation that Chalmers liked to use, or even Mary's explanation, example, imagination isn't evidence against a physical causation. In order to combat or rebuttal of physical causation, it has to be realistic. Next is the false assumption. Mr. Chalmers assumes experience is an additional entity over and above brain function. Experience can be seen as the natural output of all neural systems in biochemistry. Then finally, function versus phenomenology, confusion. Mr. Chalmers assumes explaining the function, the adaptive role, of feelings is insufficient. From a scientific view, subjective experience can be explained as a functional emergent property without requiring an additional metaphysical explanation. Overall, Mr. Chalmers assumes purpose, dualism, and separateness of experience from matter, which is completely unnecessary, knowing that the research we have now has heavily supported that in order for the mind to change, or for yourself, that the brain has to be physically altered. That is it. I will be talking about depression in my next video and a deep analysis on that. I will see you very soon.